Always very surprised when I'm asked to speak to fantastic people like you. I've been asked to speak about success before self. So I've been thinking about that for the last few hours. What am I going to say? The reason I'm surprised that I'm asked to speak at these kind of things, and I don't consider myself successful. I'll say that to you now. You might think so, you know, I hold a certain position in Aliv, and I suppose in the telecommunications industry in your country and in the region, but I don't see it that way around. The title that was chosen for me to talk about is actually how I believe that you should fundamentally live your life. Success before self. So why do I say that? Every morning I have deliberately placed a quote outside my office, and I'll come back to why it's this quote. Service is the rent you pay for your room on earth. Now, just dwell on that while I'm speaking. Service is the rent that you pay for your room on earth. It's a quote from a very famous person, a very inspirational person, but it's the quote that I decided to put outside my office, and I've walked past it for the last 3.5 years. Why did I decide that that is the quote that I should do? Right outside my office, walk past it, remind myself every day, as I'm leading a fantastic Bahamian team here, really changing telecommunications, and I believe the way that people are living their lives through their smartphones, changing the way that society works to some degree. Why have I chosen that quote? Because fundamentally, success is nothing really. What is really important is serving your fellow men and women. And Aliv is the manifestation, I suppose, of lots of learnings that I've had in my own life around service. Starting with my mother. My mother had 5 children, and she taught all of us that the reason we were there was to serve other people. I happen to be the oldest, and those of you who are the oldest in the room, you tend to have a special feeling that you're there to even serve your siblings, help them, look after them, nurture them. So I suppose it was always there. When I was younger, I was speaking to some of you from C.I. Gibson the other day, so you've heard this before. I was given the opportunity to be in the Boy Scouts. Again, a feeling and fostering that element of service. You're here to serve your fellow human beings. My mother, though, the reason it's so strongly imbued within me, my mother was a nurse. And everybody in this room knows nurses. Nurses are angels that are put on this earth to serve other people at times of extreme hardship and extreme worry often. My mother was a special nurse. She was a sick children's nurse. She was trained at a very famous hospital in London called Great Ormond Street, which is where the most terminally ill children are nursed. Unfortunately, many of them only live for a few years, and that's where she did her initial training when she was 18 years old. So nothing would teach you more than service, than having a mother who's done that kind of thing for 40 years. And so I think I've always taken from that lesson in particular, plus all the people I've worked around, that the real purpose in life is to serve others. And if you stick to that, maybe success comes and success doesn't. Success is in the eyes, success is judged by the eyes of others, not yourself. But if you keep serving your fellow man and human being in whatever purpose you were put on this earth to do, then some people will judge you as successful at some point, because that, as far as I'm concerned, is why we're all here. We're all here to help each other. Now, in particular, leading Aliv, I've kind of taken it, I suppose, to a different level, and I also have another fundamental thing that I believe in, which is that everybody should be able to give their best. We should encourage every single person to give their best and be able to give their best, feel comfortable giving their best. So you can see on the Aliv branding, we sign off everything by calling to action, believe in best. Not just you believe in best and hopefully you think Aliv's the best, come and join us, but really reflecting back to Bahamian society that really we should all believe in the best. Whether it be an apparently small thing, let's try our best to do that thing. Let's try our best at school. Let's try our best to pass all those exams. Let's encourage other people to do their best. Now, if you add those two things together, you basically fundamentally get the very simple things that have driven me through my life. And they are serving other people. When a customer's with you or asking for something, you always, 100% of the time, listen to what they want, and you try your best within the power you have to deliver what they want. You proactively go and seek out what customers want, and you serve them. Service is not something that should be looked down upon or something that is seen as a menial task. Service is why we're all here. Another human being wants your help, in this case, to be connected with their friends and family, and that's an important thing that you take in to your being and make happen every day that you're serving that role. My mother was a nurse. She served people. She helped them at times when they were sick. She nursed, unfortunately, children to their dying day. But most of all, actually, she nursed their parents and their grandparents, is what she always says, through that difficult time. Some of you might be called to serve your community. And it's not just the job that you do. Once you start becoming successful, you keep serving in different ways. What do I mean? Do I believe it really, or am I just saying it to you? I've been privileged to work in over 20 countries. I've worked in very wealthy, developed countries, like the Bahamas, believe it or not. I've worked in some of the poorest countries on this earth. I was called to go and serve in Haiti. I went to run a business there for 2 years, the largest business in the country. I've also been called to serve in Honduras, which is another poor country in this region. I didn't hesitate when asked to go and serve there, because I knew I would learn more from the people I met there than I would ever be able to give to them. All I could do was serve them. But I keep serving in Haiti, for example. I've worked with an organization there for nearly 7 years now, and they are a microfinance organization. They grant microloans to mainly women, but also entrepreneurs, of $250 typically when the women start out on the program, so they can build a business for themselves. And we lend $40 million a year from this institution. The institution was started by one of the most entrepreneurial people I've ever met in my life, and trust me, I've worked with some. He was a Catholic priest called Father Joseph Philippe. And he decided that amongst all of the poverty that you see from Haiti, the women of Haiti should be given a chance, so he went to serve them by founding what is now the largest, effectively, rural bank or rural financial institution in Haiti. They built 45 branches around the countries and organized the women of Haiti into 2,000 credit circles. So they're organized into a group, they're taught about what you do with money to make money, and educated, and they lent money. And I was privileged, later on in this organisation's life, when it was about 15 years old, to be called in to come and help. So I went to serve. And it's a big commitment. I have to go to Haiti several times a year. And I was privileged to be asked to chair this organisation. And nothing could make me prouder than the service I've given there, where I've literally seen the work of the dedicated Haitian team, which has 800 people, literally changing lives by lending that $40 million a year. So there's another example of service. I would encourage you all, as you go through your lives, your careers, always to find the next thing that you can serve on. Okay? Because if you do that, you will be seen and become successful. That is the only formula that I've followed. And I can only commend my own formula to you all, of course. There are many examples, but I truly believe if you believe, as I do now, I am here to serve the Bahamian people, nothing more and nothing less, that is the thing that is going to stand you in the best stead for whether you will be judged successful or not. At the end of the day, if some people say you're not successful, but you did that, you will be the winner because you did what the good Lord upstairs calls us to do every day, and that is serve. Thank you very much.
If I gotta tell you twice, don't waste time.
Thank you again, Mr. Damian Blackburn. So we're narrowing there. We have two more presenters, and up next we have Mr. Polo Prosper, who's going to be speaking on I Believe, I Take Charge, I Succeed. Polo Prosper was born in Haiti and came to the United States of America when he was 15 years old. Mr. Prosper is an author of multiple books, a John Maxwell certified coach, and a speaker whose focus is to help individuals turn their passion into success. Polo helps organizations and companies develop their team into great leaders. Polo's background in retail, and he has more than 20 years of experience, 12 years at Walmart as assistant manager, and Winn-Dixie for 2 years as a co-store manager. In August 2016, Polo left the corporate arena to start his own company called A Better You Coach. The company is dedicated to providing leadership resources for leadership shift transformation to help individuals and organizations reach their full potential. Polo currently resides in beautiful Boynton Beach, Florida, with his wife, Laura Prosper. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome to you, Mr. Polo Prosper.
Good afternoon, everyone. Man, what a powerful evening, or afternoon, if you will. Again, my name is Polo Prosper. I know they told me I have 2 hours, so I'll keep it short, right? Real short. I would get straight to it, guys. Whenever I get a chance to speak in front of an audience, I say that it's a privilege. I'm not trying to be humble, because it is true, and I believe that, because when you are put in a position where you have a mic, you have a voice, you have authority, you could either make someone or break someone. And so therefore, I've always considered myself to be very careful what I say and how I say what I said. So I just want to share my story with you before I go through the slides. I promise you I'm not going to be long. As he mentioned, I was born in Haiti. For the first 8 years of my life, I was surrounded by the most important people in my life. My grandmother, my mother, my 2 sisters, and a brother. Growing up in the islands of Haiti had many challenges. But yet, I didn't know that I was poor, not until I was able to travel into the city. Then I realized there was something different. There were people that was living differently than I was, because I was born in the village. Growing up, I was not exposed to religion, but somewhere along the way, I've learned about God. The first thing I've learned was that you didn't play with him. And the second thing, that he was always listening. And after discovering that I was poor, I remember saying something like this: God, if you take me out of the city, I will serve you. And so he quickly responded to that challenge. But for me, on the other hand, it takes a little more time. I remember when I was 15 years old, my brothers and 2 sisters and I boarded our very first airplane. It was a plane that would take us to the promised land, so I thought. It said our trip to the United States was a bittersweet one. On one hand, God was fulfilling his promise, and on the other hand, I was leaving the only place I knew, my home. A place of safety due to the care of my mother and grandmother. When we landed in Fort Lauderdale International Airport, my dad, who had not seen me in a long time, was there to pick us up. And I was so excited. Literally, I was overjoyed with the feelings of excitement. I remember thinking to myself, we started from the bottom, now we're here. However, the feeling was short-lived, because when I arrived at my dad's house, he had a woman living in the house with him. So I immediately became resentful against my dad, and that resentment showed up in my action and words. Things literally quickly grew worse. I remember literally in November 1995, my dad and I got into a huge fight over my stepmother. In rage and anger, I was so upset at during that fight. I broke so many items that I could find in the house. And from that point on, my dad said to me, you think you're grown, you don't want to listen, and if you know anything about Haitian parents, you only have 1 strike. There's no 2 strikes. To bring you into the country, the